Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Um, Today we're going over a new pressing topic which everyone knew would happen if you followed politics for any amount of time, and especially the Democratic Party. Conservative Democrats are now coming out of the woodworks to take on progressive challengers. We can see this in multiple areas, and I'm going to go over it here. So the first example here we'll start with of this is Morrissey breaks with Democrats, backs GOP's John Reed for lieutenant governor. So this is talking about the Virginia race, which is currently going on in November, not the midterms. There's a couple of elections going on right now. We have an election here in Virginia. There's one in New Jersey. There's one in New York for mayor. And there's one, of course, in California for Prop 50. A lot of conservatives are coming out now in some of these races here. So to start us off, yeah. So Morrissey breaks Democrats, backs GOP's John Reed for lieutenant governor. Morrissey, I don't know how you pronounce his name, is a Democrat. And he is coming out betraying a Democrat and backing John Reed, who is a Republican. So let's read the article here. John Reed, the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor, on Tuesday launched Democrats for John Reed, a coalition of Virginia Democrats publicly lining up behind his candidacy, a twist that promises to sharpen contrast with his Democratic opponent, Senator Ghazala Hashmi. For those of you who don't know about Ghazala Hashmi is a fantastic candidate. Of all the people I'm voting for in Virginia, I'm voting for Ghazala Hashmi first, because she's has a fantastic platform, fantastic record. I'll go over that after this article, and after we the other article I go over as well. I'll go over their platforms. So Ghazala Hashmi is a really good candidate. Of course, these corporate Democrats don't think so. One of the most prominent defectors in this new group is former state senator Joe Morrissey, a Democrat whose career has long been marked by clashes with his own party. Virginians know that our Commonwealth works best when we work together, Reed said in a statement. I am proud to have the support of Democrats who are standing up for common sense and for a government that is accountable to people, not to political class enrichment. Together, we're building a broad coalition to move Virginia forward. He's standing up for common sense and for a government that is accountable to the people. That's what John Reed is standing up for. It's bullshit, but we'll keep going. Reed's campaign said that these individuals are putting people over politics, which is an absurd statement. They are putting politics most certainly over people. Most certainly. Once you see Ghazala Hashmi's platform, you will see how ridiculous that is. In supporting the Republicans' promise to be a check on Richmond's political class and focus on common sense solutions. Spoiler alert, anytime anyone says common sense solutions in politics, they're not. They've never been. I cannot point to one politician who's had common sense solutions that have been good. Let's see here. In an interview with the Mercury on Tuesday, he explained the reasons he will support Reed rather than Hashmi, citing personal experience serving with her in the Senate and disagreement over what he views as partisanship in her actions and policy positions. Among his complaints are that Hashmi was strictly partisan. It did not do what was best, what I thought, for the Commonwealth. So, newsflash here to the Democrats who are supporting Reed because Ghazala Hashmi is partisan. That's why we have fucking parties. Because people are partisan. Because people disagree. And some people think that we should do things differently than other people, hence why we have parties and partisanship. Blaming someone for partisanship is the wildest shit in a country which has political parties. Imagine blaming someone for standing for something. I mean, this person isn't capitulating to Republicans enough, therefore they're bad. Absurd statement. He contrasted with Reed with Reed. He's saying he believes Reed will do a much better job for Virginians. A much better job for Virginians. I do want to point out here before we go to the next article. Right now, Virginia is under a Republican governorship. This governor, Glenn Youngkin, has associated himself closely with Donald Trump. Yeah, so he's associated himself very, very closely with Donald Trump. Some things that he's done, he has stopped it for that trans people cannot use the bathroom of their choice. he has also that Virginia was in a climate agreement with other states. He cut the funding for that. Okay, so Glenn Youngkin here is a hardcore MAGA person, aligns himself with Trump. So let's not pretend that this Republican here is somehow a good Republican or a across the aisle Republican. No, this is just a Republican here. Winsome Earl Sears, again, she's the one running for the Republican governorship. She just said recently that she doesn't believe not allowing gay people to get married is discrimination. She has openly said, yeah, I don't think gay people should be allowed to get married, and that's not discrimination. I mean, this is the Republican Party here in Virginia. These are not common sense Republicans whatsoever. These are discriminatory Republicans, and these Democrats are supporting them over progressives like Ghazala Hashmi. This article goes on. It's a pretty good article, but I want to get to another one here, which is very reminiscent of this article. Governor Mills will challenge Senator Collins in 2026 Senate contest. So this is referring to the midterms here in Maine. Governor Mills of Maine is a Democrat who's going to reportedly challenge Susan Collins, a Republican in Maine. So Democrats see Maine as an important target amid a need to pick up a net of 4 seats to retake the Senate majority. I don't know why the fuck they said this. They're not picking up the Senate majority. I've already made a video on this. They're not picking up the Senate majority. Okay? They're not picking up the Senate majority. To pick up the Senate majority, they'd need one of these states. Democrats would need to flip one of these states. Iowa, Ohio, South Carolina, Nebraska. They're not flipping any one of those fucking states. They're not flipping any one of them. All right? Maybe Nebraska, maybe. But he's not even a Democrat. He's an independent. Dan Osborne is an independent. So he's not even a caucus with the Democrats. So we don't even know if that would give them the majority. They're not picking up the Senate. They're not picking up the Senate. It's bullshit. Okay, they actually might make more gains than previously thought, but they're not picking up the Senate. I would bet on that. Seriously, anyone who wants to bet on that, go ahead. Anyone who wants to bet on that, go ahead. All my money into it. All of it. Bet my soul on that shit. All right, let's actually go into the article. Okay, Maine's 2-term Democratic Governor Janet Mills will run for the Senate seat held by veteran Republican Senator Susan Collins next year. 2 people familiar with Mills' plans said this on Friday. So this leaked. She didn't actually come out and say that she will, but it leaked that she will. The development sets up a potential showdown between the party's best-known figures in a state where Democrats see a chance to gain a seat in their uphill quest for the Senate majority. Mills is tentatively expected to announce her candidacy on Tuesday, according to the people who insisted on the anonymity. I don't know, man. To discuss their being anonymous. To discuss plans that were not authorized to share publicly. Mills was the top choice for National Democrats who have long tried to unseat Collins, who held the seat since 1997. Susan Collins has been in Congress a senator since 1997. And Democrats have been trying to push her out since then. That's rough. She was urged to run by party leaders, including New York Senator Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader. So here we go. Here's why. Janet Mills is running because Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer stepped in and said, hey, you should run. For those of you who don't know, there is another Democrat in this race, Graham Plattner. He's campaigned with Bernie. He's a fantastic candidate. He supports great policies. He's young. He is the clear candidate. The clear candidate here. But the corporate Democrats are pushing Janet Mills. Let's continue. And though she only met once with Schumer to discuss the race early this year, her decision is viewed as a recruiting win for Democrats, who also have well-known figures with statewide experience running for seats held by Republicans in North Carolina and Ohio. Yeah, so this one basically, it goes on to talk about Mills. And I want to be clear here. I don't hate Mills. I don't, because this is how I know who Janet Mills is. In April, Maine officials sued the Trump administration in an effort to stop the federal government from freezing federal funding to the state in light of its decision to defy a federal ban on allowing transgender students to participate in sports. So she stood up for transgender people. That's good. Okay? That deserves credit where credit is due. Mills stoked Democratic enthusiasm in April when she said on the lawsuit, "I spent spent the better part of my career listening to loud men talk tough to disguise their weakness." That's pretty badass. Here comes the issue. Mills, 77. Janet Mills is 77 years old. She's 77 years old. Okay. So now we're going to go into who's challenging who these. So we have the corporate Democrats here, right? Let's talk about their opponents. Let's start with Maine here, with Graham Plattner. Okay, this is Graham Plattner. Does this fucker look 77? He's not. He's not 77. He's like, let me look it up. I don't even know how old he is. How old is Graham Plattner? 41. He's 41 years old. He's 41. That is a 30-year age gap between these two candidates. Look, I'm not saying that old people can't be in politics. Bernie is 80 years old, and he's a great guy, and he's a great senator. All the praise to Bernie. But we shouldn't be looking to run people who are 77, especially when you have someone like Graham Plattner. So let's look at his policy. Let's look at his policy. Okay, let's look at his policy. Where is his policy? He's got a platform page too, just by the way, which is good because not everyone does. So let's just do the Medicare for All test, which is the test I always do on progressive candidates. I will be a strong supporter for a Medicare for All system, moving away from the for-profit insurance system that has brought us nothing but grief. Banning billionaire. I'm just going to read the I don't have time to. Oh my god, I don't have time to read all of this, but I'll read some of the important ones. Ban billionaires from buying elections. Sounds great. Medicare for All. Sounds great. End billionaire tax dodging. That's great. Raise federal minimum wage. Fantastic. End the war in Gaza. I know it's going to say end the war in Gaza. I've not minced my words on this issue. We are sending American taxpayer dollars to underwrite the starvation of Gaza in what can only be described as a genocide. Okay, so he's calling it a genocide. Calling it a genocide. Good. Awesome. Okay, this is a guy who's young, who's intelligent, and who's incredibly progressive. He's a veteran. If you want to beat Susan Collins, who've been beating Democrats since before I was born, you don't run a 77-year-old geezer. You're not going to win that way. Okay, no matter how good she is. When you have someone like Graham Plattner, I mean, this is gold. This is gold. He is the quintessential candidate in this race. He's got the best chance at winning. He's got the best platform. But corporate Democrats like Chuck Schumer, as I mentioned, have come out. Where is it? Like Chuck Schumer have come out and said that they want someone like Janet Mills to run. Now let's go back to Virginia. So Hashmi, they're running against Ghazala Hashmi. I think her endorsements are important. These are important, but I'm looking for one in particular. I'm looking for, where is it? Well, here's one, Progressive Democrats of America. Not many people in Virginia have the endorsement of Progressive Democrats of America. She does. She does. There's another specific person that I'm looking for here. I know it's in here. Where are you, bitch? Where are you? Okay, well, she was endorsed by the Working Families Party. She might have moved it off of this one in particular. But she was endorsed by the Working Families Party. Working Families Party is a great institution, works within the Democratic Party, and funds progressive candidates. Okay, so she's endorsed by two progressive organizations. Furthermore, I don't know if it's going to be on her thing here. It doesn't look like it. Okay, so I'll say what Ghazala Hashmi supports. So let's just... Ghazala Hashmi is the one who introduced the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, which is a one hell of a progressive piece of legislation, which basically eliminates the power of the Electoral College. I mean, talk about someone who's putting their money where their mouth is. This person is saying they want to protect democracy. Okay? You can't have a democracy and have the electoral college. You can't have both. You can't. She actually fought to get rid of it. She actually fought to get rid of it. She also introduced abortion, a codifying a Roe v. Wade into law in Virginia. She supported abortion rights here in Virginia. She wrote the bill on that. Okay, Ghazala Hashmi is a really good candidate. She's a very fantastic candidate. That's why Republicans and Democrats aren't supporting her. Okay, notice how Morsi here is still partisanship, but reaffirming support for Jones and Spanberger. Literally, this guy, these Democrats, are supporting Spanberger and Jones, but not Hashmi. That tells you everything you need to know about these people and the Democrats. Okay, guess who's more conservative than Hashmi? Both these two candidates. Guess who's an actual progressive? Hashmi. Same thing here. Guess who's an actual progressive? Plattner. We need to come out and support these candidates here. The corporate Democrats are coming out and they're really trying to squash these campaigns. But these are the candidates. These are the candidates who are going to beat Republicans. These are the candidates who are going to stand up for you and going to stand up for me. They have a track record of doing it. They are correct on the issues, and they're young. Okay? They're not geezers, right? They can be in politics for a little bit. Okay, they're going to fight for you. Yeah, so that's kind of all I have here today. Make sure we come out and support these great people, because Al Hashmi is up for election this November in about a month for lieutenant governor. Grant Plattner for Senate next year in the primary. I'm not exactly sure when that is. Donate, phone bank, do whatever, because these people need to get in. And the corporate Democrats are running scared. The corporate Democrats are trying to buy these people out. They're trying to stop them, which only reaffirms my support for them, that they're actually going to do the right thing.